on. That was so sweet with the grandkids. Yay! And now we have an official nominee. On to the next step, electing Joe Biden and Kamala Harris in November. Make sure you have a plan to vote. Text VOTE to 30330 to find out how. Now we're going to talk about a topic that touches all of our lives, healthcare. The Affordable Care Act was game-changing. This pandemic has revealed just how important it is to protect and improve it. Increasing access to health care and bringing down its costs have always been a priority for Joe Biden, because for Joe and for all of us, health care is personal.
It's the toughest battles that call for the steadiest leadership. Again and again, they were told to give up on affordable health care. They knew it would cost them politically.
The Republicans say this will prove to be unpopular.
The bill is a legislative train wreck.
But not nearly as much as it would cost the American people if they did nothing.
We are not going to slow up on providing affordable health care for Americans.
Health care is a natural American right.
Giving up on the Affordable Care Act would have meant leaving 20 million without coverage out in the cold. But Joe Biden wasn't about to give up, because he knew what it was like to stand in their shoes. He was sworn into the Senate next to a hospital bed. His wife and daughter had been killed in a car crash. And lying in that bed were his two sons. 40 years later, one of those little boys, his son, Beau, was diagnosed with cancer and given only months to live. It's hard to imagine a greater grief than losing your child. But Joe always knew that his family was one of the lucky ones. After that accident, his son got 40 more years of life, all because he had health care.
Without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table.
Now, it's unthinkable that Donald Trump is trying to take that health care away. In the middle of a pandemic, he's still trying to get rid of the Affordable Care Act. This fight is personal for Joe, as personal as it gets. So when Joe says he has a plan to strengthen the Affordable Care Act, protect those with pre-existing conditions, and expand access to every American, he's thinking about how having health care saved his boys. When his plan talks about lowering drug prices and making care more affordable, he's thinking about Beau, who spent his final days in comfort because he was insured. Joe Biden knows what affordable health care means to American families because of what it's meant to his.
This is my promise to you. When I'm president, I will take care of your health care coverage and your family the same way I would my own. For that's what the presidency is, the duty to care for all of us, not just those who vote for us, but all of us. This job is not about me, it's about you, it's about us.
How are you, you handsome boy?
He was born in 15 and with a heart condition, known as transposition of the greater arteries, and ended up requiring a transplant. And thankfully, the ACA had already taken effect. But now that's something that we think about all the time, especially with his coverage, the potential of coverage maxes, and his initial hospital stay was over $3 million that was billed back to the insurance.
I remember thinking as Beau lay dying in bed, and we'd lie in bed with him, his brother and I and his sister, and thinking to myself, what in God's name would I do if the doctor walked in and said, I'm sorry, you've outrun your insurance, you've reached your cap, suffer the last few months of your life on your own.
I came from a part of the country, rural Missouri, where basically everybody was a Republican and I was a Republican. And I lost my voice. And we put off going to the doctor because we didn't have health insurance. When we finally got into somebody that could take a look at my throat, they said, wow, you've got cancer. It was stage 4, the worst kind of cancer you can have. My wife applied for insurance through the Affordable Care Act, and my coverage began on April 1st in 2012. And that same day, they started my chemo and radiation, and it saved my life. I'm here today.
Generally speaking, as a church, you're concerned about people spiritually, but you're also concerned about other areas of their life. And that includes their physical or physiological well-being, because the Bible talks about all of us. But there are people in our country, and in fact, people in my church that can't take advantage of it because they don't have good health care. That's pretty discouraging to me, and that's pretty discouraging to them.
Because of the myasthenia gravis and the fact that it's a very rare disease, a lot of our medications we have to fight for. And before the ACA, we worried about our medications. We worried about the pre-existing conditions for our children. We worried about age and the cap, because having that cost of the medications, we would have reached that $1 million cap in no time. But once the ACA passed, we no longer had that cap of the $1 million.
The fear that you all live in, understandably, if somehow tomorrow they said no insurance, you're not covered, is just devastating. Hey, Laura, how you doing?
Yes, you can.
How you doing? Well, you beat Hodgkin's lymphoma. God love you. But during it all, Trump was trying to rip away your coverage. The day you got your first chemo, Republicans voted to gut the ACA. I can't imagine what it must have been like going to sleep at night wondering what to do.
Ever since I was diagnosed, every night I'd go to bed concerned about what news I would get in the morning. And even today, they're still trying to take away our health care, even during a pandemic.
Look, we're going to make sure we don't lose that ACA. We're going to provide a Medicare-like option as a public option. And any state where there is if you qualify for Medicaid and the state hasn't provided it, you'd automatically be enrolled. I'm going to protect you like I tried to protect my own family. And I promise you that.